Film Slice Pod!
Hey team, Angus Strachan here. Welcome to the Film Slice Podcast. I'm here once again with my co-hosts, Cane Dogs and Broadman.
Oh!
And this week we are reviewing The Invisible Man.
Who's also here.
He's also here, yeah. Say
Well-
something. Did we give him the right address? We will have no way of knowing.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
All right.
Possibly a fourth.
Possibly here.
That's right. The Invisible Man, released 1933.
Yep. Yeah, 1933.
Correct.
Yep.
Classic film.
Claude Rains, Gloria Stewart. Any of these names ringing a bell?
Absolutely not.
Good.
I mean, all
good.
Stewarts are pretty glorious.
Hey, no, we are reviewing the new one, Gotcha, 2020, The Invisible Man, starring, of course, that girl
Elizabeth
from...
Moss.
Yeah, Mad Men. Is it Mad Men?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's great about
Mad
that
Men
joke?
and Handmaid's Tale.
What's great about that joke is people that are like, I wonder what the original Invisible Man was like. Found this podcast, and now they're severely disappointed.
I'll make sure to put 2020 in the title. Yes, is this a watch or not? Invisible Man 2020. Watch or not?
You asking me?
Yes.
Yes, watch it.
Streamer.
Ooh, okay.
No. Get fucked.
Wow. Okay.
The full array. We're like a rainbow, but there's only three colors.
I'm just gonna put a little caveat on this, that this movie is definitely not my cup of tea. So as such, when I'm reviewing it, just take it with a bit of salt. That
You
I'm
don't put
obviously
salt
not
in
like
tea, Angus.
I don't really understand this genre as a whole. So when I'm dissecting it,
Are you
just keep
calling
that in
this
mind.
genre a hole?
Yes, it's a hole in the ground that needs to be filled in. Let's move on.
Wow.
I didn't like it. I think there's quite a lot of holes in the plot. The characters, all of them are very unlikable to no end. There's not really anyone in there that you kind of root for. And I'm guessing
Wow.
that's probably part of the genre, I would say. And I think it wasn't even that scary, I think, to be honest. Yeah, that's my initial thoughts.
Okay, wow.
Okay,
I'm
does.
going to go ahead on the other side of the spectrum, disagree with most statements. I think Elizabeth Moss... Elizabeth
the Moth.
I've been talking all day. Elizabeth Moss... Fuck!
Let's get this moth out of here,
Yeah.
because it's really
The
just, it's in all the
main
curtains.
protagonist
Fucking-
was, I thought, very compelling and very likable. And I rooted for her survival the whole way through. I'm also going to say that this film, for me, did exactly what it was meant to do, which is to sort of give you a fear of the fact that there could be someone in the room without you knowing that they're there, and at any point in time you could be in danger. And that film did a really good job of conveying that to me. So, yeah, this film is really high up there for me. Loved it.
Fair enough.
Bro,
I went for a streamer because I kind of called a lot of the twists and all that stuff, so it wasn't too surprising. And I feel like there are a lot of better thrillers out there than this, but this was still like okay to good. So that's why I went streamer.
Okay.
Fair. Cinema dicks, boys. Anyone got a cinema dick that want to flap out?
I can't remember. I saw this film 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. No.
I don't think so. Me and Brode saw it together.
We saw it together.
Good. I don't at all feel left out. That's good. I'm glad you guys had fun.
You guys see the movie together every week.
I can't. When's the last time you and me saw a film together, Brody?
Last week.
We didn't see a film together last week.
Yeah, no, but I'm just throwing you under the bus.
Okay.
Love it. Yeah, I can't think of. I think there was only one guy who was on his phone for like the first part of the film.
Someone
and
took
had,
a
like,
photo.
a packet of chips.
Someone took a photo to our right. They took a photo
did
with
they?
the flash on. It was a
Don't
bit
like,
weird.
if we take a photo, maybe
Classic.
we'll see him in the picture.
It's a bit
Because they
weird.
don't understand how films work.
I think a lot of the times people take photos in the cinema and they're like, oh shit, I've got
Yeah.
auto flash on.
Yeah.
And it's like really dark in the cinema, so it just like flashes.
It's
and
also,
then-
it's clearly someone being like, oh, on Snapchat, like, I'm in a movie.
yeah,
I'm going to prove that I'm in a movie.
by taking a selfie facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, like, it's just such a confusing...
You could be in any sort of amphitheater.
It's definitely someone being like, yeah, I'm in a movie. It's like you've just taken a picture of anything.
Yeah.
Fair. So pretty. I mean, that's pretty kind of subpar for cinema dicks, really.
Yeah,
There's
look, to
really-
be fair,
No
I can't
big
remember if
dicks.
there were
No
cinema
big dicks, no.
'cause
You know what they say on the Film Slice podcast? There's no big dicks.
I've heard that review quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right,
yeah.
moving on.
Mainly from all my sexual partners.
Also mainly from all of Brody's sexual partners.
Cool sound effect, Angus.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Jordan's always stealing my
I jumped the
stuff.
gun on that. That is the spoiler alarm.
There goes the only good joke I'm telling all year.
Good. Time for mail. That's right.
What everyone at
What's-
home doesn't see is how chilled out Angus is when there's this extreme person in agony going, "What's in the box?" And it's just Angus looking at his phone and going, "Mail,
Mail.
What's in the mail box?"
Oh, different thing.
So, yeah.
All right. So in the mailbox today, we've got Jesse_director.
Okay.
Very fancy.
Most
name.
likely a director.
Yes.
Possibly named Jesse.
Yes, possibly.
Possibly.
Says OMG best pick ever. We've got from Dirty Dan saying, "Bro, the
That
man."
pic is referring to the picture that is up on Instagram right now of
I haven't seen it. Can I
the
have a
current
look?
podcast.
Is it? I
Yeah.
thought he was talking about the movie. Oh.
No.
that makes so
no,
much sense.
No.
That's amazing.
It is pretty good. It's pretty
Definitely
good.
definitely go to Instagram. Follow us, Film Slice Podcast. I was very proud of this drawing.
What's great is
Chuck a
it's
like
such-
in.
It's the laziest success you've ever had. Like, it's the most success you'll ever get from doing the least amount of work.
It's pretty great.
Don't
It's pretty
spoil
great.
it.
It's pretty great.
Don't spoil it.
That's true. There's other things yet to come in your life that could be just as lazy and yet just as successful.
So we've got Dirty Dan's saying,
Dans.
"Bro, the man was invisible in the movie. 0 out of invisible." I wonder if he meant visible.
I don't know. Dirty Dan's, get back to us.
Yeah, all those Dans out there that are dirty.
Yeah.
Just get back to us.
Clean Dan's, you can fuck off.
Yeah. Clean.
Doesn't work as well, yeah.
No.
Thanks, Dirty Dan's. Even though quite a bewildering post, thank you for writing in. We've also got from Hamza Sikpikaki.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Says, "Where is the man?" Question mark. Well, he's invisible.
He is invisible.
He's the invisible man.
Invisible man.
There you go, Hamza Kipikatik.
I'm pretty sure that's hey, hang on. There. Yeah, that's Hamza Sikpasik. Pasik. Oh man, I'm butchering this. Oh no.
Thank you, Brody, for...
Anyway, there goes our listeners.
There you go.
There goes all our listeners.
Super, that was... What's in the
mailbox?
Why did you say what's in them? It's so weird.
Look, I was really excited
We're
about
professionals.
this sting the first time I used it. Ever since then, I've kind of lost interest.
Yeah,
I think
fair,
I need
fair,
to swap
fair,
it
fair.
around.
I think that's how people feel
But
about
I'm
this
also
podcast.
too
Fair
lazy.
bears.
All right, let's get into the movie. The Invisible Man. Best bits. Cane dogs.
Yeah.
You are an avid lover of this film.
Correct.
Start us off.
All right, my favorite part of this film was going into it. I wanted really only one thing, which is the concept of an invisible man chasing you or taunting you or trying to kill you should be intimidating and it should be scary. And the only thing I wanted out of this film is when I left, I wanted to be afraid of that concept. I wanted this film to properly suggest that, because anytime there's an invisible man in a movie, take a shit film, for example, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. For the majority of the time, you can see him because he wears like a bandage around his face and a coat and a hat. And it's like, well, he's less visible than everybody else. So I wanted for the majority of this movie to be a lot of not knowing where he is. For the majority of the film. I didn't want them to spoil everything until closer to the end. It's the concept of what you don't see is scarier, right? So this film perfectly had me guessing in every shot where he could be, which is what I loved about it. The camera did really cool things, like it'd move out of a shot before the people you could see left a room. So for example, it would hint that someone else has left the room first, or someone is sitting somewhere.
Yeah, or someone's entered the room. Or,
Yeah, and then there were shots that were far less obvious than that, where it was just things that you would be used to seeing in the center of a room were no longer centered, and empty spaces were more in the center of a room. So instead of the door being centered in the frame, the door was off to the left, and then just a blank chair, or like an empty chair or a blank wall was in the center. It just did a lot of great things of making me, like, almost like an I Spy. You were never gonna win, of just guessing where he was. And
Well,
then
something beginning with I.
Yeah.
Invisible Man.
And then the other thing that it did really, really well for me was this movie wouldn't have worked at all without Elizabeth Moss selling it. And for me, she absolutely did. This movie wouldn't have worked if the protagonist didn't seem legitimately scared. And I bought every moment of the panic from her character throughout the whole film. And
Except at the end where she just kind of turns into the bad guy for no apparent reason.
She doesn't turn into the bad guy.
She does. She kills someone.
Doesn't make her the bad guy. We've watched superhero movies for the past 10 years where they kill people.
Yeah,
She killed a mass murderer who was unstoppable.
Well, we don't know.
By
Like,
the law.
the idea is that we don't know he actually did that.
Guy, I mean, I don't think the audience is really in question of that. But even without
I was.
but even without the Invisible Man stuff, the abusive relationship is still quite fucking horrible.
Yeah, it does send a... I'll get into it in spoilers, but I think it does send
Aren't
a
we in
message
spoilers?
of... I mean, negative, sorry.
We'll
get into it in negative.
I don't see her as a villain at all. I think this is no different to any other film where I've seen the hero kill the antagonist, which is most thrillers I've ever seen. So, yeah, I don't see her as a villain whatsoever.
Broadman.
I thought that the visual effects of the invisible stuff was all pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
him standing on the blanket and all that sort of stuff. I was just like, this is actually pretty cool. Like they did a good job of representing that there is a person there that you cannot see.
Yeah.
I did like... Yeah, I liked the step on the sheet when they were when he was stepping closer on the sheet. That was really cool. And it kind of reminded me of like those kind of practical effects that you see kind of in older films that were kind of similar. Like they could pull this off by, I don't know, like a vacuum underneath or something. Like something stupid like it. I enjoyed that practical
It was pretty cool.
aspect of it.
It was pretty cool. I think they kind of fell into the trap of just kind of like floating knives for a lot of the film. But when they were doing interesting stuff, like him stepping onto the carpet and stuff like that, that was like, oh, that's actually kind of smart.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm actually pretty impressed. So I liked all that.
My favorite part of the film was Aldous Hodge, who plays James Lanier, the cop, who takes Miss Moss in. His triceps were phenomenal.
Fucking
They
beautiful.
were, oh man, they stuck out of his arms like nothing I've ever seen before. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Just like when he
I
leaned,
have to admit, I did notice
when he
that.
leaned his
I noticed that he
arms
was an
like
incredibly muscular man. I don't
Specifically
specifically
his
recall his
triceps.
triceps.
specifically his they just stuck out perpendicular to his arms. Like they were crazy. Anyway, I saw that, I was like, well done you. I will never reach this epitome of a body, so well done you. That was my favorite part.
Right, any
Fair
other
enough,
positives
fair enough.
for you?
Not for me. Not
Okay.
really.
Fair enough. I also want to say I really liked the opening scene of just her sneaking out. I really like that it starts quiet and it builds suspense instead of making it like, because a lot of the times in a scene like that you'd have an argument or you'd have a lot more going on instead of giving us this really quiet sort of slow suspenseful build. And it told so much of the story in the first 5 minutes of that scene, just understanding how careful she had to be just to try to leave this guy, in telling us how dangerous and how controlling he is. That did such a great job of painting this character without even really having to introduce us to him. That did a great job. And the other thing I really like is the suit design, in that there's a particular fear. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the fear of there
Oh, the
being
fear
like...
of small holes.
Yeah, that, and also in conjunction with that, the fear of things being made out of like eyes or eyeballs.
Yeah, a bunch of eyes.
Both of those fears are real fears that I don't have, but they, like, if you show me pictures on like Google Images of it, or people Google it, it still kind of just makes you feel weird and uncomfortable if you look at it for too long. And the suit is basically designed to kind of trigger both of those things. Too.
Yeah, the part of the film where it was flickering and it was going in and out of working
was a
and
really
unworking
cool effect.
looked really cool. That looked really nice.
I also just really liked, because in a lot of, I mean, you know, as most people know at this point, I'm an aficionado of like the superhero genre and things like that. Going invisible has always been made to seem such a lame power in comparison to most other powers.
Kind of pervy.
Yeah, but like just in terms of whether it's actually useful, it's like, well, you can sneak into a place. But outside of that, it's never been shown to really be powerful in any way. And this movie really made the character intimidating. Like, doesn't matter if there's 6 guys in the room and they've all got guns. Like, he went through them like butter. Like he demolished like loads of people towards the end.
As most people know, Jordan loves to eat butter, so he ate them.
I go through.
He just ate them.
I
He just
go
ate
through
all
people
of them.
like butter, but it did a really good job of making I guess the power of invisibility seem almost overpowered as an ability. Like it's just he could do anything at any point in time to anyone, and that was just really, really cool. Because I was worried that it was going to be super underwhelming. Because it's like, oh, he can sneak into a place, but outside of that, he's like Michael Myers. He's any other killer, but this movie did such a great job of making him so much more intimidating.
He's Austin Powers?
No.
All right, let's get into the negatives. Cane Dogs, did you want to start us off again?
My biggest negative, and I'm going to be honest, this is, as I said, on the end of the spectrum of where you're at, Angus. I only really have one, and it's not exactly based on the film. It's based on the trailers that they released for the film. So the film is actually set up for you to not know until about halfway whether there's an invisible man or not. It's actually designed for you to question whether it is her sanity or whether it's actually happening. But unfortunately,
I disagree, but I'm going to let you finish.
Well, that's been said because I've had like a week and a half to look at all of the stuff. So that's how they wrote it, and that's how they wanted it to come across.
But that's how they wanted it to come across. That's not how it came across. But I'm going to let you finish.
This is the trailer we're talking about?
No,
Just the trailer,
so
just
the
film?
movie was designed,
okay.
It was written so that until you were given evidence that he was actually invisible, which doesn't happen until that carpet scene. I thought there might be a scene slightly before. Again, it's been a while, but it's not...
The first bit where they give pure evidence is when the door opens and you see his breath.
Yeah, okay. So before that, as an audience, there is perfect evidence to suggest that she is just crazy. And that works just as a really good example of what being in such a damaging relationship can do to someone. It's just making them paranoid and making them schizophrenic and scared. And this movie is designed to prey on that as well, especially if you've got an experience anything like that. This movie would hit home. But the trailers all show the Invisible Man and the practical effects and all of that of it actually happening. And so anyone that saw the trailer, which is
everyone,
pretty much most people very vividly remember, like, the paint scene where he gets a port on his head. That happens in the trailer. And I was just really annoyed that they spoiled that, because I think that would have added a massive element to the film if we went into this not knowing if there was an Invisible Man.
Totally,
now,
yeah.
I disagree.
Okay.
Because at the beginning, there's an entire scene where she goes down into a secret lair and there's 17 versions of Iron Man suits that are being worked on.
But that's
and the frame pans over, stops
on the
and just
invisible
waits
suit.
on an invisible suit that's not there, but there's all the things that could hold the suit there.
The thing is
and then it stops there. And then it pans. And the entire way through this entire sequence, you keep hearing a weird noise, which is the noise which is now associated with the invisible suit. So, like, seeing that scene would just be like, oh, okay, Invisible Man.
Just as a rebuttal to that, though, they needed that scene so that you would understand why she believes it's possible. Because if you didn't have any scene like that, and he wasn't, like, a mass leader in optics, and he didn't have suits that he was trying to do that on, then you'd just be like...
It would be better, because then you'd be like, she's insane. She's like, she is so insane. Yeah. Even though she knows that, we don't know that as an audience. So she would come across as insane, and I'd buy into it more.
I guess so.
If they didn't have that scene.
Definitely. All right. I much prefer what you were saying.
If there was a door there and she's never been able to get into it, and it's like locked or whatever, and then the security things on the outside, and she still goes through the security stuff. And then when she finally goes into it, that door's open or something bullshit like that.
Okay, yeah, look, I'll pay that. But I also think there's certainly an interesting premise.
And if it was called Ghost instead of The Invisible Man...
Yeah, well, that's the other thing I was going to say. There's certainly an interesting premise to be made here of basically the exact same story, except it turns out that she just is schizophrenic, and maybe the brother is just torturing her or something like that. I think that'd also make a pretty compelling story.
So this is actually a reboot, I think, from The Invisible Man.
Well, there's been a million Invisible Man.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's part of the dark universe that they're trying to start up, which I'll talk about just at the very end if I've got time.
Yep. Broadman.
My biggest negative? Just some of the stupid things that you get in a lot of horror films, a lot of thriller films.
Yeah.
So, like,
tropes.
If you're scared that someone's in the room with you at all times, close the fucking doors. You're not going to have a shower with the door open to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Well, I just thought the minute she has proof, carry a spray can. Like that's
Yeah.
if I was being
There's-
chased by someone, the
There's
first
so
thing I'd
many
do is
of
buy a
those
spray
little
paint
things,
can.
right? There's so many of those little things.
That and a gun.
I've got one of those tropes just to chuck in, because
Yeah,
that was going to
chuck
be
it
one
in.
of my negatives.
Chuck it in.
Where she hears something, so she goes to investigate, walks down the hallway without turning the light on, walks into the living room and tries to look for a couple of minutes just to add suspense, then turns back, turns the light on, and then has another look again.
Yeah.
Maybe just turn the light
Well,
on at the start.
The bit where the tap turns on and she slowly walks over
Yeah.
to the tap,
Yeah.
turns off the tap, then turns around. It's like, no, you hear a tap turn on, you go the other way because you know where he is.
Yeah.
There's so many little moments like that.
Or just go swinging. Just if
Yeah.
I can get a baseball bat and
Yeah, I
start
was
swinging.
gonna say, I think I'd definitely, the minute I'd proof, I'd be carrying like a spray paint can and probably
Knuckle
a weapon.
dusters. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many
Another-
little things like that.
Another
And-
classic trope is where the bad guy is just bulletproof. Just cause, like at
say,
the end
yeah.
where he
Yeah.
takes like 45 shots to the chest and
Yeah.
it's just still a
and also
monster.
he has super strength for some reason. He
Yeah.
picks her up by the neck. I don't know if you've tried, but it is fucking hard to pick someone by the neck.
I have tried. By the way,
Especially-
single again.
Even though that guy
no,
was fit.
I'm kidding.
That
Don't
guy
send
was
me letters.
fit, but he wasn't like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson fit.
See, was he fit though? Because one of my gripes is the Invisible Man is scary, Cane Dogs, I agree, when you don't see him. As soon as you see him, he's kind of a chubby dude in a morph suit.
Well, I would have liked it if he was a really short dude. If he was really short, and that's like how he's being able to overcome these people,
Almost
because
like a
he's the
gremlin
Invisible
or
Man.
something.
Yeah, if he was a really short and really weak, nerdy guy, that would have been awesome, right? But he turned out to be just a really tall, handsome jock dude. Yeah, and it was just like, no. It would have been so much better if he was really, really short and he was really unfit.
I guess-
And he was just like a nerd who invented this technology, and he's using this technology to do these incredible things that he normally would never be able to do.
I see.
But looking at the guy, I was just like, he looks like a guy from any like spy movie that would be beating up people all the time. You know
I
what
see
mean?
the argument. I think I like their choice of antagonist in terms of casting because I absolutely buy that it's the type of guy. I guess I buy that appearance and that character fits the personality of someone that's controlling and has this power complex and wants to control everything. I guess someone like that resonated to me as being so much more intimidating, I guess, for me.
I think the problem with that, which is where I'll kind of bring my negatives in, is the characters weren't developed enough to really care either which way. So the only thing we really know about the bad guy is that he's kind of a psychopath, he's bad in relationships, and he works in optometry. And that's kind of about it.
He works
And
in
his-
optics.
Optics. And his character doesn't really change throughout the whole film. Like there's no like finding out like, oh, he also knows this and he also does this kind of thing. It's really just from the start, he's the bad guy and he's the bad guy because
That's
he's
very
the bad
similar.
guy.
That's the genre. I
Yeah,
guess.
which I thought was going to be the problem coming into it, which is like I think I need more development in the character, and not just in him as well. Like the side characters, like I really like the cop. I think he was my favorite character.
He was
the
awesome.
sister was there because she had to be there to
killed
change
later.
the plot.
Yeah.
Like right at the start, she comes, saves her sister. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Gets one email from her sister saying, I hate you. Like, nah, you're out of my life, just so that the main character can feel alone. And then when it's time to come back
if I
again,
sent that
she
email
comes
to
back
you,
get
Jordan,
killed.
you'd be like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, I'd certainly come
Yeah.
over and just beat you
it's
to
one
death.
of those. Yeah, exactly.
If I can keep going,
Go.
on this point. So I did say that my favorite character was the cop, and he
Yeah.
really was for the whole film.
So he was a bit of a
kind
dumbass sometimes.
He was a bit of a dumbass, but he was also kind of for me the moral compass. It's
Yeah,
like, he's
absolutely.
the good cop. He's the person that knows what's right and what's not. And then towards the end, he's like, "Look, I know he might still be out there. We'll find out this together. We'll figure out what to." Sweet. So she's got someone good, a moral compass on her side to do this, to kind of finish it, to end it. And then it ends with her becoming the murderer, becoming I'm not going to say psychopath, but she does kind of get a bit psychotic at the end where she's smiling because she's just killed her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
The problem that I have with the cop's character is the cop's like, oh, okay, I guess, no, he killed himself. No, in that situation, he should have that moral dilemma. I really like this person. She's
Also-
gone down a dark path.
Yeah.
And bring
he
it up with
has
her.
no proof. He has no proof that he actually did it either.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
From his perspective, they killed an invisible man in the house,
Exactly.
and there she went to a
Yeah.
guy's house, and even if he was a dick to her in the relationship, she still just went there and murdered him.
I'm gonna say
So
I agree with all your points, but I still 100% understand why she still went and killed him. Which is just the concept
I
that...
understand.
It's a concept that is like, look, if he's still out there, we'll find him. It's like, no, because he could literally get any other suit and kill anyone tomorrow.
I could understand that, but that's what made that character unlikable for me, and therefore I didn't really give a crap about any other characters, especially at the end when the cops was like, yeah, I guess it's okay to murder someone, even though you kind of went to a psychiatric ward and, you know, were locked down because you killed your sister, apparently, but now that you've killed another person, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of it fell apart at the end.
The absolute worst part of the entire film
Go for it.
is a bit where she's like, okay, I've snuck into the house. I need to get into this room. My password doesn't work. Okay, the date of the day we met. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Oh, yeah, fucking nailed it.
How romantic.
What the fuck was that shit?
That's so
What the
didn't she
hell
say
was
how
that?
romantic?
Yeah, what the hell was that? First of all, a guy as nerdy as him would not have a fucking password like that. Second of
it's
all,
gonna be like 20 digits.
picking a random date, he like out of all of the dates, he just picks like the date of the day we met.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. Oh man, I hated that. They could have just had that not be there. They could have just had those doors open.
Yeah, that's true.
And she could have just wandered in there. You know?
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
And the camera could have panned down onto a button that said like emergency lock doors or something like that, and so you think that maybe he's gonna trap her in there.
Yeah.
And like none of that shit happened. She was like, oh, the day we met. Beep, 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 boop, boop. Okay, door open. I'm in now. Yeah, what the hell was that shit?
Yeah, I'll pay that.
And why didn't she get into the suit then? Oh man.
That's what I thought.
I'm gonna carry it upstairs into the.
I couldn't help but feel like that suit's definitely like sagging like around her waist and knees, right? Like he's a much bigger dude. When she puts on the suit, like you're definitely like, even if invisible, you're still gonna hear like that shh, shh, shh of her like swaying that suit as she tries to move. Or even like a thud as she trips over trying to walk in it.
I like to think of the old archetype of superhero movies where the bad guy and the good guy are the same, just polar opposites. I would have loved to seen a final battle scene with
Invisible
the two
man.
people.
Just start getting broken.
Just stuff kind of falling onto the floor.
Oh, just people going, oh, fuck, I missed.
Well,
Are you even in here? Are you even still in here?
are we still fighting? I think one of the things that's never dwelled upon in this, and look, I get it because it's just a dumb thing for me to think of, but also your depth perception, if you cannot see your own hands, would be the fucking worst.
True, yeah. That's true.
Like, that is the worst. Also, I don't mean to be like the science guy, but if you're wearing an invisible suit that's covering up your face, you can't actually see because it's reflecting the light instead of your retinas actually being able to take in anything. So you're not actually able to, the minute you put that suit on, you and everything to you is invisible.
There's
Also,
a few problems
does the
like
suit
that.
have sound dampeners in it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Because like there's
a
so
lot
many
of-
moments where they're all walking across the ground and they're like, it's like wooden floors and it's like and then the invisible man walks across the floors and it's like
What you don't see
yeah.
is how slowly he has to try to, like, it took him 45 minutes to get across that floor.
Also, massive
And
missed opportunity.
if you listen carefully, you just hear him go, oh, fuck.
Ah shit. Absolutely.
Sneaking around.
There was a
being
huge
little-
missed opportunity as well.
Gonna murder someone.
There's this crazy camera move when she kind of like runs around the house and it like flies up really high and like quickly sweeps around and it's just like, oh, that was really insane. And then later on, she like calls him on his phone and she hears the sound from above and she looks up and I was like, oh shit, he's on the ceiling.
Yeah, that's what I.
And then she
fucking
goes and
Spider-Man.
gets a ladder to go into the attic and I was like, oh. I was just like, how fucking scary it'd be to find out in that moment that he's also got the technology to climb up walls.
Climb walls, yeah.
And I was like, that would have been fucking scary as hell.
I think, yeah, it could have absolutely used an element since everybody...
That's why I
since the
wish he was
trailer-
just a little dude. I wish he was a little nerdy dude.
a little nerdy dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then she has like the total opportunity to overpower him, right? But then...
Yeah.
So he has
Yeah,
to
so it's kind
actually...
of like equally matched.
yeah,
but
yeah.
different.
But he's just some tall, super strong person.
Yeah,
and it's
he's
just
a
like,
superhero. He's basically a superhero.
Yeah.
This movie kind of sounds like what would come from one of those YouTube videos of like, what would you rather? You know, would you rather super strength or be
absolutely.
invisible? But instead of YouTube comedians, it's just a psychopath being like, I'd be invisible.
I'd be
I'd be invisible.
Here's what I'd do.
Here's what I'd do. I'd find one girl, and
I'll take my brother. I
just
I'll
stalk
take
her
my
face.
dad. It's like, what?
I didn't like the twist with the brother where the brother was helping, because I preferred it when it was like the brother is also like, listen, he controlled me my whole life. Because him being on side kind of discounts that whole conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did he bother? Was that for her?
The problem
What
was
the point of that
he
conversation?
looked seedy.
Yeah.
That brother just looked freaking seedy.
Take that,
He
that
just
actor.
looks like a bad dude.
He should have been the actual bad guy.
Yeah,
Because he was small.
I
and,
actually
yeah.
would have liked if they were like, yeah, he was actually the bad guy. Turns
Yeah.
out, like, yeah,
Would've
he
been cool
killed
if
his
this-
older brother or whatever.
Turns out the
and-
brother did die, and then he inherited all of his
Exactly,
shit.
yeah,
you know, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, I don't know.
That'd be kind of. There's a lot of ways where this movie could have been better potentially.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
if the ending was left far more up to the audience to make
Yeah.
their own decisions.
And they didn't reveal too early, I think, as well. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Like, I really liked the first bit of the film where you're like, yeah, maybe she's just insane. Like,
Yeah.
maybe this is just something
And
that
a
she's
lot of the
going through.
movie was meant to really push that.
Yeah,
further.
which
They
I
get
don't
out of
think
that
they did
pretty
well.
quickly,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. Last thing I'll just say in my negatives, just to completely wipe the board clean, is and I
Fuck you all.
yeah, fuck everyone that likes these movies. I just said fuck to myself.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. One other big thing, and it's probably this genre in general.
Yeah. Okay.
Take away the sound. 90% of this film is sound, right? So like,
Absolutely,
take away
yeah.
the sound. 90% of this isn't scary. It's not like the
The scariest part of the entire film is the dog bowl.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, the scariest part is the fact that they have no sound for more than half of the film, and then all of a sudden it's just like a big clap. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of jolts
Sorry
you
for
out.
anyone who got scared just then. I could see it was coming, but a lot of you, none of you will.
But and that's the thing, and
I like the idea of someone's eating cereal.
those kind of
Just spilling milk and Cocoa
Yeah,
Pops
yeah.
all over himself.
like those scary things. They were all fake outs.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't actually a scary thing happened.
Yeah.
It was a fake out to, oh, it might have... No,
And
it
that's
was-
certainly something that is part of the genre that I also don't like.
Yeah.
Is that, like,
Jump
you know that
scares.
scene where it's like someone's going to open a closet and they do when a cat jumps out?
Yeah.
And you still go, oh, but it's just the most underwhelming.
Yeah,
yeah, but I'm afraid of cats.
Just keep the suspense there. Like, the worst part is keeping the suspense
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Instead of breaking it every 5... Like, after
It's
the
like
fifth time
Paranormal
it happened,
Activity.
I was like,
The scariest bit in Paranormal Activity is when you see the handprints landing on the floor, and it's just like, oh, there's a fucking demon.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And it just holds it for so fucking long, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. That's
Never
scary.
seen Paranormal Activity.
Okay, a lot of this film is definitely taken from Paranormal
Okay,
Activity, including the sound when there's something invisible there,
Is that-
and invisible stuff
Is that
happening.
Blumhouse? Or
And-
Blumhouse?
and-
Or whatever it's called?
What?
They did
Bloomhouse.
Paranormal Activity?
Oh, I can't remember. Maybe.
Might have been.
I don't know.
Anyway,
All right, I think we'll leave that there. The Invisible Man. Some of us loved it. Some of us hated us.
some of us hated us.
Some of
Freudian
us
slip,
hate
Angus.
ourselves.
You have something you need to say. Some of us loved it, some of us hate everybody.
I do have something to say, but we'll leave that for next episode where we're reviewing a completely different film. Tune in to that one. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, boys and girls, bald-headed babies, and all those in between. Love you guys.
Bye.
Namaste. That's my new
I'm going.
outro. Did you like it?
No.
Next week on the Film Slice Podcast.
Oh no, Brody's gone invisible. Oh, where is he? Oh, he's got a knife. Oh man. Oh,
Hello,
he's
welcome
just
to the
slapping-
podcast.
Oh, he's
I'm
just slapping me.
here with the Invisible
Oh.
Man and the Silent Boy.
Oh,
How is everyone?
I'm here, Jordan.
I guess I'm the silent
Jordan.
boy.
Obviously not. God.
Surprise.
God.